Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 5. So Module 5 is the module that will be the poetry exam and essay, just like we did with fiction. You have a lot to do in this module, so you want to pace yourself. However, unlike the fiction module, we do have an extra week for this one because it does fall during the July 4th holiday. So Alan is technically does not have classes during, so you have kind of a break during that first week of July. It just means that this one isn't due until the week after. So you actually have an extra week to procrastinate on working on these assignments, or maybe you'll take advantage of that time. So what we have going on here is very similar to the fiction module that looked like this. You've got your to-do list, your readings and stuff. There's not really any new information except for figures of speech. So this will be, most of you are probably familiar with figures of speech already from either high school or from Comp 1. But this chapter just discusses its context with poetry a little bit better. And then I do have some review sections that you can look at just for writing essays, those of you who've been maybe a little while since you've written one. So I've got the exam first. The exam, just like the fiction exam, is one of those that you can only take one time. And so you want to make sure that you are prepared before you start it. It does have a time limit, and you do have to finish it in one sitting, so you can't save it and go back to it. So you just kind of keep that in mind. If for some reason you run into some kind of technical difficulty, make sure that you email me immediately so that it can be reset. And then obviously you'll get new questions at that point. So there's only 25 questions, and you do have that 60 minutes, full 60 minutes to complete it. Then I also, just like the fiction exam, have a separate essay question, and this one just allows you to discuss a little bit more of what you learned in a sort of essay format. And I don't have this as part of the timed quiz or timed exam because sometimes it does take students a little longer to answer. So in this case, you are choosing your favorite poem from the textbook, and then just a couple of paragraphs telling me, you know, what the poem is, what do you think what the name of the poem is, what do you think the central theme is, and then poetry elements that you noticed, what you liked about it, what you connected with. So it's a little bit more personal response. I do want to know a little bit more about, you know, how did you connect? What did you think of it? What is your opinion? And the reason I want that, obviously, is because I don't want you looking elsewhere for the response to this. And then just submit your Word document here like you would any other assignment. So that is the exam. Just, it looks very similar to what we did for the fiction exam. And then the other part of the module is to do a essay. So let me get down here. The other thing that you're going to be doing, so we got the essay here, comparison essay is set up here. And then I also have the research project here with the topic proposal. So I always have this a little bit earlier in the class so that you can start thinking about it. The research project is not due yet for a couple of modules, but this way, once you've chosen your topic, it will allow you to prepare for it for, you know, a few weeks and just kind of think about what you might do. And rather than doing a third essay, your third major project, if you will, it can be visual rather than written. And so I have this in here just because I think that it appeals to different learning styles, and some students would prefer to do more of a visual project. So you've got quite a few options. Basically, your topic has to be related to literature somehow. It does not really matter what you do as long as it's related to literature. So if you want to do, you know, your favorite book series, your favorite genre, I've had a lot of very interesting projects done on a lot of different topics, favorite authors, favorite works. I've had comparisons done between different things. I've had students look at, you know, the universe created in their favorite series. There's a lot of different options here. And then once you've chosen your topic, you have to decide how do you want to display your research. So you could do any number of things. I really encourage, so creativity is a big component of the grade. And so if you're just going to turn in, you know, just like bland PowerPoint slides, you're not going to get a very good grade on this. I want you to be thinking about what could you do creatively, whether that's some kind of artwork or digital collage, or creating a video of some kind, or going beyond that. I've had students do brochures, like they would create something for a museum about this topic, or, you know, done some sort of creative writing. And so there's a lot you could do. Your research project doesn't need to be something that can be turned in. Otherwise, you know, as long as you can, you know, if you're performing something, you create a video of it and just turn in the video, that kind of thing is totally fine. If you do artwork, you can take a picture of it and turn that in, and that works out really well as well. So there's a lot that you can do. I've got some ideas down here for you, and then this is how many points. It's obviously worth a significant chunk of your grade. So I'll really be thinking about what you could do. So right now, all you're doing is turning in an idea for your topic. And this topic proposal basically allows me to sort of approve your topic. I've never, I think, told a student not to do something, but I have occasionally had a student who's just gotten like way off track on what they should be doing for this project. And so I can help guide them back to, it does need to be about literature, you know, that kind of thing. And so I can give you a little feedback there. And then obviously you can go check my response as soon as I give it to you so that you can make sure that you're doing it correctly. So the last thing then in the module is that essay. So for the essay assignment, I'm doing things just a little bit differently with this essay, and this is the first time I've done this with a class, so if there's any confusion in the directions, just send me an email. So basically you have two options. If you would rather write a traditional essay, you're more than welcome to, and most students are a little bit more comfortable with this idea. And basically you're taking two poems. It could be any two poems out of the textbook, as long as you have some reason that you want to compare them, and you're putting them side by side and you're just discussing what are the connections that you can see between them. So similarities and differences is what you're thinking of. You should have one kind of central idea to focus your essay rather than a bunch of different ones. So similar to the analysis essay where we chose kind of one element to analyze it with, same idea here. You'll want to make sure that a lot of students will pick like theme as their main basis for comparison. So if both poems are about death or something, then it makes it easier to put them side by side. You'll have 3 body paragraphs. So this is a 5-paragraph essay, so it's slightly longer than the last one. 5-paragraph essay, introduction, telling us the authors and titles, and then our thesis is going to tell us kind of that overall, what is the basis for comparison and what can we learn from it. And then point-by-point organization means that each body paragraph will discuss both poems. So you're organizing the body paragraphs by main point. So we'll see, you know, how is the theme of death shown through the setting? How is the theme of death shown through the symbols? So each paragraph is going to discuss both poems and 1 point for each of them. MLA requirements are fairly simple. We have 1 works cited page with the 2 poems listed, and then you just use in-text citations to help us distinguish between the 2 poems throughout the essay, just making sure that you keep referring to either the title of the poem or the author so that we know which one you're covering. So that's kind of a basic comparison, and a lot of students are familiar with that style. If you prefer to do something a little bit different, I have another option, which is an AI analysis. So basically what you're going to do is use an AI generator, such as ChatGPT, go in and ask it to create a comparison and then just list 2 poems. The poems have to be from the textbook, but I encourage you to just challenge that AI generator and choose 2 poems that seem completely different. And then that way you can kind of see as a result what happens. The best thing to do for this assignment would be to create an essay that has a lot you can analyze. So you don't want a perfect essay because then you don't have anything to discuss. So that was why if you pick kind of 2 like really different looking poems, you might get more substance to write about. So your essay then will be more of an analysis of the comparison. You want to tell me authors and titles of the poems in the introduction, so I know which ones you were looking at. And then your thesis will then be more of the overall reaction of or analysis to the AI generated essay. And then your body paragraphs are going to break down your analysis. So you might look at the quality of writing. Maybe there were some things that you missed. It could also be a little bit of analysis of your prompt, because sometimes we don't include stuff in a prompt, so it doesn't include it in the essay, that kind of thing. So same length, but the only difference is you won't be turning in, you don't have to have a works cited page for this one because you're just analyzing the AI paper. So you'll turn in the AI paper as well as your own analysis of it. So same length, just a different way of writing and something a little bit different for those of you who are interested in that. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. Otherwise, have a great week.